In this video today, we are going to be taking a look at some of the best meta decks post-ban in Riftbound right now. So the Spirit Forged season, in the West at least, is just over halfway through. We're starting to get to our second set of skirmishes. So lots of you are going to be wanting to find really good decks to play with. Draven definitely took a major hit. I did do a tier list video yesterday where I talked about some of the winners and losers from the bans and post-ban, what I think the meta could look like. In this video, we're going to take a look at 5 of the decks that I think are going to be really good and very viable. There's a mix of ones I've kind of cooked up myself, and then what I've seen other content creators, pros, come up with. When I say pros, just people who are doing really well at the regional event. There isn't really technically pros as of yet, I would say, in Riftbound. If you like these type of videos, I'm going to do deck analysis, tutorials, gameplay, tier list. Please do consider subscribing. Helps the channel to grow, putting out daily content for you guys. So first of all, it's Victor Aggro. It's kind of an aggro slash control. It's from Ghost Driver. I think it's exactly, if I remember rightly, his deck that he got top 4 in Bologna. The deck's not been changed at all. The battlefields, none of them got banned. He's not in purple, so nothing in his deck got banned, and that's just made Victor stronger. Victor, one of his worst matchups was Draven. That matchup's a lot easier for him now. He doesn't have to. What's Vengeance doing there? He doesn't have to worry all about fight or flight. The battlefields make Draven worse, so Victor is a lot better against Draven now, which makes that was probably Victor's biggest issue. Victor's very good into Aurelia, who's got a nerf. Victor does struggle a little bit against Kaiser. There is little bits of like triangles of this deck's good against this, but it struggles against that, but that deck's good against the deck that one struggles against. That does happen in TCGs. But this Victor deck's very good. If you want a good aggro deck that's constantly got units, can spell sling, it's quite versatile. It's got a good mix of stuff. You don't have to play with gear. This is a really nice deck. It's got a lot of good options. The only thing I would say is the turn 1, you're probably quite often going to be playing a recruit. But the pickpocket's a really nice play in there that allows you to get over the gear. You have lots of salvage in there for gear as well. So this deck has a lot of good stuff against some of the more meta stuff right now. And a cheeky time warp in there just in case that wins you a game. I do find this deck it's hard to get the time warp off though, just because of the way power goes. But yeah, really fun deck, really good aggro. Probably the easiest deck I would argue to play in this video. But there is definitely some high skill in how you manage the rune and power in this deck. But yeah, fun deck. Second deck we're looking at, mid-range Draven. It is still good. I still think this is a very viable deck. Is it the S plus tier it probably was before? Is it going to be as consistent? No. However, I still think it's very good. I'm not going to be running this deck for the rest of set 2 because there's a few decks I think might be a bit better, and I already ran Draven most of this set. Did pretty well. I won a tournament where there was 25 people or so. I won a box at the tournament, made semi-finals of a couple of local skirmishes, and my skirmishes are pretty competitive in my local area. I'm a pretty good player, but far from the best. I'm still trying to improve. And I want to try something a bit different. But yeah, this Draven, very good. I like him a lot. Think that he's still good. This champ is miles worse than what you call it, what we previously had. I think the Vanquisher was much better. I still don't think it should have been banned. It's got lots of units in there, allow you to be quite heavy in combat. It does mean it can brick a little bit more though later on if you just get units and can't get them out. Free gear is really nice. Spinach's really good. I've put 3 rebukes in since you've lost the fight or flight. You get more hard bargains in there. To some extent, I feel like maybe the hard bargains probably could be swapped out because you've got you don't have that many other spells, but it does allow you to counter other people's spells, so it is pretty good to be fair. The battlefields, we're putting Windswept Hillock in as our game 1 battlefield. I don't know if I'd be certain about this, but combat suits Draven. Having ganking makes it a lot easier for you to have combat when you're playing as Draven. Draven wants that, so it makes it a lot harder for people to play around. Gives you a lot more power from your units. And then game 1 is that. Game 2, if you win, is Targon's Peak. Really nice battlefield if you can go first with it. And then Treasure Hoard as a go second. It could benefit the opponent, but it is a good chance to get onto it. It's a very solid battlefield for Draven. Sideboard, just a few more spells, unit options. You could maybe put 2 Firma Beans and maybe even swap a hard bargain for a switcheroo. I probably would swap a hard bargain for a switcheroo, to be fair. But yeah, good deck still. Ari, called it Ari Queen. This is an Ari deck that I made up myself. It might not be the absolute definitive version of it. It's not one I've massively tested, but I've played it quite a bit and like it. The chosen champ has to be this one. Beautiful Spirit Forge art. Grove of the God Willow is always going to be an Ari one. The Raven Bloom is the what you call it, the go second, and the start at peak is the go first. I think this could be a really good one in Ari. You're not going to have some of the other battlefields that we had before, but if you can get this and get going with it quick, get a Stellar Corn online, you could get more draws, get more runes. You can snowball quite quick and make it very, very hard for your opponent to get back into the game. Got more blue runes than green just because we've got more blue power costs. You need the Stellar Corns in there. The Thousand Tail Watches are great. I've put a lot of these Ari Inquisitives. You can stack these and protect her. Then it's very hard for people to take battlefields. Stalwart Power, just a little 2-drop. We've got 7 2-drops in there. Very spell heavy. We're trying ultimately to hold battlefields. We've got good defies, not so fast. We've got singularities to clear. Time Warp could win us the game if we're holding. Progress Straight. I probably want to try fit 2 progress days, and you could maybe get rid of the block. I'm not sure about the World Atlas. I think the cloth armor is very, very good though. And then what do you call it? Just by the way, just quick draw that. I think that means right that you don't have to pay the equip. It's only you have to only pay the attach if it's in base or something. Anyway, and then the sideboard just gives us a few more options to deal with counter certain stuff. So if we're playing like a pike deck, we need an extra charm in there. We're playing Aurora, we need rocket barrages in there. We're playing a deck that we're going to run long cards, run an extra progress there. Playing a deck that's going to use a lot of spells, run not so fastify. It's quite versatile. It's different to the other decks we're running. It's a bit of a different playstyle with the holding. I think it's very strong, and a lot of people have been taught. I've not seen the TCG Challenger video. If my deck's anything like it, or guide even, I've not read their guide, so their deck's probably going to be better and more in depth than mine, of course. But I mean, this is a pretty good deck that could be pretty strong. Aurelia. Now, I think this is probably going to be the best legend for the rest of this set. I put Aurelia Krause. I didn't call it this deck. This is Krause's deck, the guy who got top 4, I think, in Bologna. He was definitely best of Aurelia in Bologna. I'm pretty sure he goes Zorn Warren's game 1, Targon's game 2 if he wins. If he's going first, and Sunken Temple game 2. It's a very spell heavy deck. There's 9 pump spells in there. You're going to want to put a lot of pump spells in Aurelia, obviously, so that's a quarter of the deck. You've got charms to deal with units, flashes in there now to deal with fight or flight. Ride the Wind gives you mobility, not so fast and defies counter stuff. Not loads of units, but enough. The Stellar Corn is the MVP, I think, honestly, in this deck. You've got a couple of turn 2 options. Tide Turn is really good for mobility. Draven's potential alternative win con. Guardian Angel, very good. Obviously, it's obvious why you'd want that. Siren can be really good if you draw it early. You just don't want to draw you don't have 2 in the deck because if you draw 2, it's a bit bad. I would honestly probably get rid of the Boots of Swiftness. The Doran's Ring in there is really good because it's trying to make sure if you get it, you can get to the Stellar Corn and get more draw. The Rebuke's in there. Obvious why they're in there. If there's decks that you just need to get rid of big units. Windwall, if you're playing a deck that's got some really big spells in there that you might want to counter. And then Hard Bargain. Honestly, I like to have 2, but it's really hard what to take out in the Aurelia. There's just so many good things in Aurelia. There's nothing that you can look at in this and just think, yeah, why would you want that? Maybe Vex, but she's still great. And you've got 20 spells, so it's really tough. It's a very good deck. Aurelia's Legend alone just has so much power. I think as of set 2, Aurelia Fervent's the best champion. in the game. I think Jin, is it Murderous Artist, the red one? I think he could be the best champion in the game come set free. But yeah, really good deck, very versatile, very flexible, got multiple win cons, counters a lot of stuff, very hard to play against. It could do a lot of crazy stuff that other decks essentially can't. So Aurelia, very strong, and with her probably worst matchup in terms of the best meta decks was Draven. I think she'll really struggle into that. She struggled sometimes into mid-range Draven. It was a matchup she could win, but it definitely favoured mid-range Draven. And then from there, Draven getting nerfed, I think Aurelia will rise to the top. Very interested though to see how the regionals do. Some other honourable mentions before we get to the final deck. Lucian and Rek'Sai, I think, are very solid. I think Master Yi could see some love. I think he's going to be a lot better now. And then Set and Fiora without fight or flights and just a general nerf to purple, not the battlefield generally that they use. I think that could really help them and make a big difference. So there's a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more diversity in the meta moving forward. But the last deck I'm showing is the one that I'm planning as of now to run for the rest of set 2. Kaiser. Kaiser's got one of the best legends in the game. Basically have a seal of any colour every turn. Kaiser's chosen champ's one of the best. It's the obvious one to pick. You're going to go Zorn Warren's game 1. Zorn Warren's game 1. I'm not 100% set on these battlefields, but Zorn Warren's game 1, effectively, this allows you to discard when you conquer. And one of the things that's really nice about this, if you're in a matchup where you don't necessarily get the cards you need, this gives you more draw power. Game 2, if you win, you're going to go Targon. So if you go first, you're going to go Targon's Peak. 2 runes on Kaiser is very powerful. She has lots of good spells. Vilemor's Lair is if you're going second. You might end up falling behind. If they can get the units stuck at battlefield, that's very good. The rune distribution I have as even. But yeah, you can see you've got lots of actions here. You've got... Wow, I didn't even realise. I didn't realise Shakedown was a reaction. I thought it was an action. That's actually crazy. Fair enough. Makes it even better. It's a really good underrated spell, to be honest. Yeah, but you've got lots of things in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's multiple versions of them that you can use with Targon's Peak. So it's pretty nice. I'm not set on that battlefield. Saw a good Kaiser player on Twitter saying maybe use Candlelit. Could be pretty good to go for your deck. Anyway, the spells, you're obviously going to be a very spell-heavy deck as Kaiser. You've got lots and lots and lots of removal. Good draw with Progress Day. You generally get through your deck okay in Kaiser. You've got 3 Stupefies. You've got the Watchful Sentry and Lecturing Yordle. You should be able to get through your deck. And then a Progress Day at some point will make a huge difference with that. Falling Star and Piercing Light staples. Falling Star is an amazing one. It feels so much better in Kaiser than it does other decks. Time Warp there as a potential win con. Singularity blows out a lot of decks. I don't think you need it as much now mid-range Draven's gone. Thermo Beam and Rocket Barrage just there as potential options if you do run into a gear-heavy deck. Get Excited can combine with Time Warp, Thousand Tales to be a really big blowout. I'm not certain about having that card in there. It does work better with 2 Time Warps. Thousand Tail, you need it in any blue deck. Watchful Sentry, Plundering Poro, and a Pouty Poro. They're just there as good 2-drops. The draw, the Gold Gear Exhausted. If you get this in the playing like a deck that's going to try to remove you, having Deflect's nice. Darius is there as a good unit that can mobile. Ferris Forerunner, very good against some of the decks that you're going to struggle into, like Victor and Aurelia, just gives you more might when you die. Nox and Hopeful, cheap might. Lexion Yordle, decent early unit, gives you draw. And the sideboard, Brynir, you bring her in if you're playing a deck like Aurelia, so you can shut them down a bit more. 2 Thermo Beams and Rocket Barrage if you're playing like Aurora or very gear-heavy decks. Second Time Warp if you think you've got the maneuverability to play it. Bellows Breath, this is one that is lacking a bit, but you could put another one in. Sorry, you could put one in if you think you're going to play against low-cost, low-might decks. This is one that I maybe would be tempted to take and get excited out and put in because 2 of these in. because it works quite well with Thousand Tail Watcher. Another Darius if you've got the ability to, and Ferris if you're playing Aurelia or Victor or Kaiser mirror match, just because you are going to need the Ferris Forerunners to get over stuff. Hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully it's given you some ideas, some cool decks you can play post-patch. I've enjoyed making it. I think there's a lot of really good versatility now in Riftbound. I think the state of the game, honestly, is very good for a new TCG, and set 3 really excites me. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this, and if you like the video, please consider subscribing. Appreciate you all. See you guys in the next one. Peace.